Every year, the draft order we project going into the season always has a lot of changes by the time the NBA draft. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the biggest risers and fallers of the 2019 NBA draft. So if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe. The NBA draft is just around the corner. So if you guys are excited, smash a button on the like and let's hop right into it. Okay guys, we're going to start with some players that fell this season, and we're going to begin with Quinn Grimes. Quinn Grimes was the 8th ranked player in high school and the number 2 shooting guard in the whole entire country. There was a lot of hype for him with his size, athleticism, and shooting. Going to Kansas, a top program in the country. Constantly going into this season, Quinn Grimes was projected to be a lottery selection. Some sites even had him close to the top 5 or in the top 5, such as Tankathon, and to start the year, he would not disappoint. In the very first game of the season, against a great team in Michigan State, he would end up dropping 21 points, shooting 6 for 10 from 3. This would instantly draw a lot of attention for him to possibly be a top selection in the 2019 NBA draft, but for the entirety of this season, he would never have a game that matched that same production, and would finish the year averaging just 8.4 points, shooting less than 39% from the field. Due to this disappointing season, Grimes fell completely off the board, so he decided to come back for his second year at Kansas. I was very high on Grimes going into this season, and I still feel he has a lot of potential, so I'm really interested to see how he performs next season. Next, we got Cam Reddish, who was the number 3 ranked player in high school. With his skill set and coordination at a 6'8" frame, he was practically a consensus top 3 selection going into this year. But as we've been talking about a lot recently, Cam didn't show us everything we wanted to see at Duke. He took the backseat to RJ and Zion, scoring only 13.5 points on less than 36% from the field. Now, Cam is still projected to be a top pick in this draft, but it looks like the once consensus top 3 pick in this draft could be going as low as the 8th overall pick to the Atlanta Hawks. Next, we got Nazir Little, who's the 6th ranked player in high school. With his elite length, athleticism, and defensive potential, just like Cam Reddish, was projected to be a top 5 pick, commonly a top 3 selection heading into this season. But after a disappointing year where he scored less than 10 points per game, he's no longer expected to be that top selection, and it looks like he's going to go in the mid-first round, possibly the end of the lottery. Next, we got Romeo Langford, who in high school was the number 1 shooting guard and 5th overall player in the country. Going into this year with a well-rounded game and a 6'6" size, Romeo was projected to be a top 10, possibly top 5 pick in this draft. Now, he didn't live up to the hype in his freshman season, getting 16.5 points, shooting 45% from the field and only 27% from 3. Now, some of the shooting struggles can be partially attributed to a nagging finger injury he's had to deal with practically the whole entire season, but regardless, he slipped down the board and now is projected to go at the bottom of the lottery, maybe even into the mid-first round. For the last of the fallers, we've got RJ Barrett, which is definitely an interesting case as he's still projected to be a top 3 pick in this draft, but going into this year, he was the consensus number 1 overall selection and it didn't seem to be any question, similar to what we saw with Ben Simmons and Andrew Wiggins coming out of high school. Now, RJ Barrett still had solid production at Duke, getting almost 23 points per game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 45% from the field, but didn't quite shoot the ball like we expected, shooting less than 31% from 3. Now, the 3-point struggles definitely played a role in him falling down the board, but the rising stock of 2 other players, which we'll get to in a second, also played a major role. Next, we're going to look at some risers, and we're going to start that off with Ja Morant, who going into this season was nowhere to be seen on mock drafts. He was just a 6'3" point guard who in his freshman year averaged 13 points per game, shooting 31% from 3 at a small school in Murray State, but absolutely flew up the board this year, averaging 24.5 points, 6 rebounds, a country-leading 10 assists, shooting 50% from the field, and 36% from 3, and now it looks like he's almost locked in to go with the number 2 pick to the Memphis Grizzlies. Another one we got would be Jarrett Culver, who was on a lot of draft boards heading into this year as a 6'7", 3-and-D prospect, but was commonly projected as a late first-round selection. But after a sophomore year where he almost averaged 19 points per game and led his team to the national championship, he's now projected to go in the top 5 of this draft. Another guy we got would be Kobe White, that absolutely flew up the board at North Carolina. He's a 6'5" point guard who was a 23 ranked player in high school, but many people didn't expect him to be a one-and-done prospect. But after averaging 16 points, 4 assists, shooting 35% from 3, he's headed to the 2019 NBA draft as the projected 6th or 7th overall pick in the draft. Next, we got the projected number 1 overall pick in the upcoming draft. That's going to be Zion Williamson. Now, going into this year, he was not projected to be this number 1 overall selection. A lot of mock drafts didn't even have him in the top 5 of the draft, which is absolutely ridiculous looking back. But after having a freshman season where he almost got 23 points per game, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, shooting 68% from the field and 34% from 3, rightfully so, he's projected to go with this number 1 overall spot. Next, we got Brandon Clark, who was a transfer from San Jose State and somewhat of an unknown going into this year. Wasn't projected to be a first-round selection, but after tearing up college basketball, averaging 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, 1.2 steals, and 3.2 blocks. He's now projected to be a late lottery selection. Another guy we got would be Jackson Hayes, who heading into the season wasn't in the conversation for a top pick in this draft, but after displaying his potential as an elite shot blocker in his freshman year, averaging 2.2 blocks at Texas, he's now projected to be a top 10 pick and be the first center taken off the board. And lastly, for the risers, we've got DeAndre Hunter, who is commonly projected to be a late lottery selection going into the season, but after increasing his offensive production to 15 points per game on 52% from the field and 44% from 3, along with a championship run, he's projected to go as high as the 4th overall pick in the upcoming draft. That's the end of you guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and the shoutouts are gonna be Joe L, Isaiah Burke, William Hurley, Raymond Whitley, and Kyler Campbell. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, all you gotta do is like the video, comment liked, and I'll shout 5 of you guys out. With all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.